Hello,
Hi,
I'm Steve,
I'm Lee.
and today we're going to establish which of these 8 characters is the worst playable character in Final Fantasy IX.
And why is it Amarant?
So last night on the bus home we were discussing the worst characters in every Final Fantasy game up to 10. We pretty much got to a point where we established that 7 is difficult to go with, but we went with Vincent because his limit breaks are uncontrollable, and you have, with his ultimate weapon, you kind of have to put in a lot of work to make it hit high enough. And with 8, it's Irvine because
What's the point of a sniper that can't shoot?
that.
He's got the weakest limit break too.
Yeah, just put ammo. With what was it? With 4 we went with Edge.
Because Edge.
5 we went with Bart's.
But that's a case of picking the lowest quality fruit out of the best batch of fruit you've seen.
Yes. And with 6 it was Umaru because you can't control him.
Ever.
Yeah. But with 10 we sort of went with Kimari.
We went with Kamari again by default because it's a great batch of fruit, but he's the one that has nothing to do.
Yeah.
So we struggled with 9.
But with 9, unlike a lot of other games, it's very difficult. With most of the other games, you can sort of make your party members go against their typing. Like you can actually in 9 you can make Yuna and Lulu be physical melee. Yes, in 10 you can make Yuna and Lulu be physical powerhouses. There's nothing funnier than watching
the little onion knight
one of Lulu's dolls
backflip someone in the face and kill them.
Yeah, for an overkill.
For 100k damage.
Yeah. So, but in 9, everyone has their own slots, and it's very difficult to.
Every slot is needed as well.
So what we'll do is we'll use actual data, but we'll also at some point we'll be going off into opinions.
Yeah. So we'll also need to dip into the lore between each character as well. So
what we do is we start with Zidane because you get him first.
He's also the only one you can't remove from your party 90% of the time.
Yeah, and he's also the main character of the game.
He's also the most useful because stealing in Final Fantasy IX is overpowered.
Yep.
It's easier to steal. Normal mobs have 2 steals. Bosses have up to 4.
Yeah.
And you get really powerful equipment hours early by doing it.
Well, the first fight you do, you
get the Mage Masher.
Steal the Mage Masher, which you'll need for Black Ops 1.
You can't buy one until you get to Lindblom.
Yeah, by which point you've passed
the point where it's useful.
Yeah. So yeah, and also his trance dying.
So powerful.
Yeah, it's one. Grand Lethal is easily the first thing that can hit for max damage.
Unless you dedicate 200 hours to grinding for Frog Drop.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. You don't need.
I have done that.
You don't need to do that like that. But yeah, Grand Lethal will hit hard. I mean, granted, the time it takes to get Grand Lethal because you have to get specific thief sword magic skills.
Yeah.
Which involves getting specific daggers and thief swords.
I believe the earliest you can get it is the very beginning of Disc 3. Which is not too bad. But you might get it earlier if I don't know everything, which I don't.
But yeah, no, Zidane's definitely not the worst.
No.
Especially with 9, by the time you're playing 9, if you've played them in order, you've just come off 2 games where your main pro tag is a grumpy son of a bitch.
I'm emo because emo is in trend right now.
And then you get 9 and Zidane's actually cheerful.
Yep.
He's a bit of a slut.
Oh,
but he's
a man after my own heart.
Yes, but he's friendly enough.
It comes down to his virtue tag at the beginning of the game when you get the little posters. You don't need a reason to help people.
Yep.
Zidane sums that up.
Yep.
Helps because he can. Not because he needs to, just because he's there.
Yep. So the next playable character you have, you actually come into control of Vivi. Now Vivi is
arguably the best character in the game.
Yes, because with Vivi, not only is he the strongest magic wielder in the game with powerful spells, but he also augments Steiner, who we'll come to in a moment. But also his trance, double black magic. When you get double, you get his trance is dual cast.
The last time we seen dual casting was Final Fantasy VII with W magic.
Yep.
Before that, we saw it in Final Fantasy V with double cast, which took mastering red mage. Another thing I do not advise doing. It's a waste of time.
You do get X magic in Final Fantasy VI.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you get X magic.
I haven't played through 6 in a while.
But yeah, no, I mean the fact is it's dual cast with his spell stat.
Oh god, and he doubles his spell damage when in trance as well. So
yeah.
You're doing 4 times your basic amount of damage with him.
Yep.
For 5 turns as well, because he gets the longest trance line.
Yep, you get him very early, which means he's the first properly playable. He's in your team for the first battles you can get experience in.
Yep. No. First battles you can get experience in is in the Dark Forest. You can do that with Zidane by himself before you rescue Vivi.
Okay. But he's in some of the first.
Yeah. He's in the earliest parts of the game.
So after that, the next playable one is Steiner.
This is your tank. You need this.
Yes, he's your tank, but he's also he's got basically he's a knight, so he's physically strong. He's got very good defense.
He has the highest strength, highest defense, and highest HP stats out of the entire 8.
Yep.
It's not even close.
He gives up speed, but hey.
He is the slowest, yes. But when his damage output is enough to mitigate that, you don't really mind him being
You've got
slightly slower.
Sword arts, and he gets a very, very strong sword arts.
Hazard.
Clem Hazard, shock, stock break, charge.
Armor break.
Yep.
Magic break.
Yeah, and then once, as we mentioned with Vivi, he also gets access. As long as Vivi and Steiner are in the party together, you get the sword magic, which basically gives you all the abilities of Vivi, but in a physical attack stat.
Vivi's spells using Steiner's physical attack stat as its baseline.
So if you're in a battle with something that's got an elemental weakness, but also a very high spirit stat.
Yeah.
That's what Steiner's for.
Steiner can one-shot a lot of the non-super enemies of the game for a majority of the game.
So Garnet/Dagger is the next playable.
She's your first white mage.
First white mage, first summoner, although you don't get her summons until quite late on.
Yeah. The earliest you can summon is you could get to summon Shiva at level 19. That is a 22-hour and 14-minute grinding.
Yeah.
If you want to do that before going into the ice cave.
Yeah, because other than that, you've got the Eidolons, but they're capped behind a much higher MP cost than you've actually got access to at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be they're dormant within her. So until they get extracted, and you have to get them all back. in the later game. Then yes, but she also does have like white magic, and
she's a very good healer early on.
The thing is because of the nature of her trance, it's again not useful until later because it's basically
it's Yuna's Grand Summon.
It's Yuna's Grand Summon essentially,
but slightly better because if they don't immediately end the battle with their 50% boost to damage on the Eidolons, they constantly resummon themselves for free throughout the battle.
Yep.
Assuming they don't just end it.
But yeah, in the early game, she's
useless
because she can't use those. She's got her magic stat, and for a good chunk of the game, from end of disc 2 into beginning of disc 3, she's very unreliable as a character because she can't concentrate
So she sometimes whiffs spells.
She sometimes regularly.
She regularly whiffs Eidolons, and she occasionally whiffs on physical attacks.
Yeah.
The only thing she can't mess up is using an item.
Yeah, she will.
And at that point in the game, your items are basically worthless.
Yeah.
Because this is one game where you don't get X potions.
Yep. So yeah, there's a good chunk of the game where it takes until probably the late game where she's any useful, and by then she's outclassed by our other white mage. But we'll get to her in a moment because our next playable,
my favorite, Freya, the red mage / dragoon.
Yeah, red mage dragoon. You meet her in Lindbloom at the Festival of the Hunt. She's has got a great
backstory.
Yeah, she's got a great backstory. She's... Thank you. That was me getting an email, by the way.
Oh, was that an email? I thought it was an update.
No.
That's less hilarious.
So, yeah, you meet her. She's looking for her boyfriend, essentially.
Sir Fratley.
Yeah, Sir Fratley, which we meet later on.
Yep.
But she's looking for him. She knows Zidane. She's got backstory with Zidane.
Yeah. As every woman does.
Yeah. She enters the Festival of the Hunt, and I think she's actually got the best. She gives off the. She's
got more chance of winning.
She's got more chance of winning, and you get the best prize.
Yes, you do.
Because Vivi will give up a card.
The only reason you want Vivi to win is if you're doing the cards.
If you like to collect all the cards.
Because it's the earliest you can get it, but it's not even the only time you can get it.
No, it's like the earliest you get, I think it's Treasure Ship card.
Yeah, you can also win the Treasure Ship card at the tournaments in Disc 3 once they start in Trino. So it's just an earlier way of getting hold of that. Zidane wins 5,000 gil, which is basically useless. And Freya gets you a freaking coral ring.
Yeah, freaking it's a coral ring. You want a coral ring.
You want the coral ring. Immunity to lightning damage.
So yeah, basically what you do is you fight the Zagnol.
Yep.
And
kill Zidane.
Kill Zidane, and then Freya wins it.
Or even quicker, have Zidane kill himself in the first fight you get into at the beginning. You'll save 10 minutes and still get the coral ring.
Yeah.
Because Freya auto wins if you go down.
Her trance is fun. It basically, when she jumps, she stays jumped.
Yep, she doesn't come down.
She doesn't come down.
Meaning that she can't take damage.
Yep, and she'll jump, she'll stay in the air, and she will
get regen.
Yep, she throws her spear down at the ground
at all opponents.
Yep, repeatedly until her trance gauge dies.
Which takes 4
rounds.
Which
takes a while. Yep.
4 rounds.
Yep. She also has good dragon skills.
Oh, the dragon skills. Raise Wind saves campaigns.
Raise Wind is just Regan on all.
Yep.
It's just Regan all, which is fabulous.
It's just so good. Dragon Crest is one of the most powerful abilities in the game, capable of easily doing 6,000 to 9,000 damage per hit.
Yep. It's all dependent on how many dragons you've killed.
Yep.
Really.
Well, given that the end game you grind grand dragons, you're gonna kill a lot.
If you want to get XP quickly, you use our next character to just level 5 death them.
Yep.
If you can get her level 5 death off before
it kills her.
But yes, next is Quina. Quina is unpredictable. Its
attack. Their melee attack is the damage is randomly assigned.
Yes, damage is randomly assigned regardless of what fork she's holding.
The only difference the fork you're holding makes is what the potential maximum damage is.
Yeah.
The first fork they start with has a potential maximum of, I believe it's whatever the math modifier they use at the time is, times 5 instead of times 20 for their ultimate.
Yeah. Quina's
minimal damage can still be ultimate weapon, poke for 1. I've seen it. It happens.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Quina's a blue mage.
And this is where she shines.
Quina's a blue mage. and the blue magics in this are interesting.
There's some really strong ones.
Frog drop, as we mentioned before.
So strong.
Level 5 death. Mustard bomb.
Mustard bomb is good. Heat is an amazing status effect.
Yeah. There's the level 5 death, as we mentioned.
Always good in every iteration.
Yeah.
Frog drop, guaranteed maximum damage once you reach 101 frogs at level 99.
Yeah, once you've caught enough frogs, and then obviously you fight quail and get the gastro fork.
Yeah.
Which up to your attack, and because Quina's forks all have the hide ability.
Quina is almost always in trance.
Yeah.
Fastest building up trance.
Which and eat is that's how we learn blue magics in this game, and constant and more regularly being in trance means that you're gonna have a better chance of eating the things you need to eat to get the things to get the blue magics.
There are some mobs that you can kill with cook that you don't even learn blue magics from. Yeah, it's just an instant kill effect that guarantees to work. Mm-hmm. It's just good.
Quina's good. She's good in specific scenarios. She's situationally good because of their range of blue magic.
Yeah, blue magic has so much uses. They are probably the second best healer in the game because White Wind. But they're also the best buffer in the game because
Mighty Guard,
which you get at the beginning.
Yeah, you get Mighty Guard really early.
You get Quina. You leave the swamp and you just flit around the area or the next area you're in until you find an Aeronite. Eat the Aeronite. Get Mighty Guard at the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. It's so stupid.
Yep.
Is it the Aeronite? Is Aeronite White Wind? I can't remember. It's been too long since I played.
Our next one is Eiko. Eiko is
the best healer in the game.
He's another summoner from Madain Sari. She's 6 years old. She's lived alone pretty much her entire life, so she's had to grow up a lot faster than her age belies. But she's another white mage and summoner, but she has different summons. Yep. Different eidolons to dagger.
They're not as strong as daggers.
Well, I don't know, but she learns arc, I believe.
Nope. Dagger gets arc. She gets Madine.
She gets Madine.
Which is the only holy damage in the game. No, because you get the holy spell, do you know?
I think so.
I can't remember. But yeah, you get holy.
Yeah, because...
Is it just dagger that learns holy, though, or does Eiko get it? Either way, Eiko's more useful as a healer. Because her trance is double white magic.
It's dual cast for white. And,
And if you all target her white magic when in trance, it heals for as much as it does when you single target with it, giving her even more utility. On top of that, she gains full life and the spell auto life.
And I think one of her unique weapons has Curaga earlier than any of
she learns Curaga before Garnet does. She also learns... I think she actually gets all of her spells before Garnet gets the same ones that they share. She also gets the auto summon Phoenix.
Oh yeah, you get
as a rare chance when she dies.
She has Phoenix, which
I can't remember if you need to have the Phoenix pinion equipped or not, but she definitely is the only one that gets it.
I think it's one of those ones that its percentage of appearances depending on how many Phoenix pinions are in your inventory.
Okay.
Much like how every eidolon's base damage is calculated by how many of its specific stone, and Odin's
is the
percentage is just ore.
Yeah, it's ore. The less you have, the more chance he has of killing everything, but the more you have, the more damage he deals when he can't just instant kill.
Yeah.
So it's the toss up there.
Yeah, because also the ability Odin's sword.
Yeah.
Which increases the chance of more damage when.
Yep.
When you fail with Zantetsu, because Odin's sword automatically. It's Gungnir any time that it's not guaranteed to kill when when it's calculated to not kill a single...
Yeah, if there's a single target that you can't auto-kill with Zantetsuken, it will use the spear.
Yeah.
If you can kill everything, there is still a chance that you won't, but Odin's Sword means that when you don't, you'll still do damage to them.
Yeah.
Or when there is one thing there you can kill, you'll still get the Zantetsuken, but you'll get to do damage to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good, but not great.
What? I was looking to see what that was.
It's the Digimon poster.
I can see it there.
I am a Digimon now.
But then obviously our last character, and I know we said he's the worst, but that's not why we've saved him for last. Is the reason he's not the last
you get.
We did it in order of character joining the party, and it's Amarant, and basically he is big, he is strong, he can do lots of damage, but other than that,
he does nothing.
Other than that, everything else he does is done better
by someone
else in the party.
HP, Steiner does better.
Yep.
Strength, Steiner does better. Speed, Zidane does better.
Yep.
Defense, Quina does better.
His personal skills are mediocre.
Yeah.
And his trance just turns those mediocre spells into AoE target all. So that's all it does.
Yeah.
The only thing that Amarant can do that nobody else can do is yeet things.
Yep. And even then, it's not that good. Yes, you can throw late game equipment for massive damage. It's still just single target.
Yep.
Vivi can do the same amount of damage to everything.
Yeah, with flare.
Yep.
Or meteor.
I wouldn't use meteor. It's too hit or miss.
Yeah. But yeah.
Amarant
is we say jack of all trades, master of none.
Except he's not even a jack of all trades, he's a jack of 4 trades, and he's not the master of any of them.
Yeah. Almost everything he does is done better by somebody else.
Yeah. And 2 of them are almost constantly going to be in your party, because Zidane needs to be there, and Steiner is the better tank.
Yeah. The only time I've seen lately of anyone using Amarant is I saw a video of a team basically bullying Ozma in less than a minute.
And they still had the other characters that are better than him.
Yeah, because it was Zidane, Steiner, Freya, and Amarant just attacking for max damage, and then Steiner used charge, so that they all got another attack off.
Yeah.
Basically, they seven hit. Awesome.
Yeah, they 7 hit in 2 rounds of combat.
Yeah.
And he's only there because he is the second highest damage dealer of the party after Steiner.
Yeah.
If you're doing Ultima properly, you don't even look at Amarant as a potential for the...
And in the last battles of the game, when everything's single target,
his trance means nothing.
Nothing.
Throwing is good though for that, because it's guaranteed to be huge damage, especially if you're throwing late game equipment of characters you're not taking with you to the final fights.
Yeah, but like I said, like we've established,
that's the very end of the game.
That's the end of the game, and plus, why would you wait? Why would you build up a character
just use once at the very end?
Just use that, and when you can just use good characters instead.
Yeah. There is also lore, the backstory for each character, their development, their growth.
Yeah, I mean,
he gets none.
Yeah, because Zidane's virtue from the start. We established, you don't need a reason to help people.
He's a constant portrayal of happy-go-lucky. Things will work out. We will do our best to make things work out in our favor. We will help people because we have the ability to.
We help people because we can. He's an optimist.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
He's an optimist, which is a great breath of fresh air after, as we established,
Squall and Cloud. Oh my god, they're so depressing.
Squall's just grumpy for the sake of it. Cloud, you can sort of...
Cloud has an excuse for being depressed.
PTSD.
Cloud's got an excuse. Squall is just emo. And not for emo's sake. He is emo because it was the trend at the time.
Yeah.
And the developers who wrote it didn't know what emo was, so he does it wrong.
Yeah, Steiner has a good heart, but
he portrays it poorly.
His judgments, he
judges people by how he first perceives them instead of who they are as a person.
Yeah, like he's got very strong biases and very strong prejudices against certain groups of people. Like, for example,
the Tantalus.
Yeah. Especially when in his eyes he doesn't listen to Dagger saying, "I wanted to be kidnapped.
Yeah,
they've come to kidnap me on request from another regent. I want to go do this."
But Steiner only sees that they are trying to kidnap her and immediately decides that makes them the bad guys.
Yes.
Doesn't matter the situation.
And he's so
they're
stubborn.
doing a bad thing.
He's so stubborn in the early game.
Yeah. But his character development is spectacular through the game. Arguably the best.
Once he realizes that the royal family that he has pledged his life for is not on the up and up all the time. Once he realizes he has feelings for Beatrix.
Yeah.
Once he realizes that Zidane and the gang aren't the bad guys and he can actually trust them, he puts his prejudices aside. He drops everything he knew to be true. He thought to be true up to that point. He has a change of heart, and at the very end of the game, when they think they're saying goodbye to Zidane forever,
Steiner is.
He almost sees him as a brother in arms.
Yeah.
To that point,
he starts off as a good man doing the right thing the wrong way, and becomes a good man doing the right thing the right way.
Yeah.
But the growth he goes through to get there is massive. Probably the biggest growth in the game.
Yeah.
Zidane goes through less growth than Steiner.
Oh yeah.
By a lot.
Yep.
And so does Vivi, and he's got the darkest growth.
Oh,
he's got the best storyline in the game.
Oh yeah. Vivi starts off as essentially a pretty much naive child. He's 9 years old. He's 9 years old, but in Black Mage
is old. He's old, but he has had little experience in life. He's been sheltered, so
he doesn't know much. I mean, and he's like, his tagline is, "How do we know we exist?
Maybe we don't exist."
And he's constantly learning. He's like the first thing that happens to him is he finds out that his ticket is fake.
Yeah.
He's been tricked.
Yeah.
And then he meets up with Puck.
Becomes his slave. Willingly becomes his slave.
Yeah.
Because then he gets to see the show.
He's easily bought.
Yep. Because he's naive.
And then he doesn't realize that he's like, he knows he is a black mage, like in terms of this is what you can do, but he doesn't know that the black mages are a race.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever met one before. And then he finds the ones that are just like essentially dolls.
Yeah, the production line.
The production line dolls when you get to Dali, and that sets him on his path.
It sets him on the path of an existential crisis that for me, when I first played this game, was painful.
Yep.
What was it? 2000? This came out in 2000,
yeah.
So I was 15.
Yeah, about the same. So you've got.
I got to Dali on day one of playing it.
Yeah,
I was 15.
It's not difficult to get there.
It's an existential crisis.
You do the Alexandria stuff. You do the Evil Forest stuff,
yeah.
And that's what another thing you see this sort of unlikely friendship between him and Steiner.
Yeah.
Because like unlike the rest of the people that Steiner's met in the game up to this point, Vivi's not done wrong.
No.
Vivi has not done wrong by Steiner's logic at this point. So and
in fact he respects him because the black mages are powerful, intimidating.
He respects him and also sees a way to benefit them both.
Yeah.
For their own, they can each cover their own weaknesses, so to speak. Because he thinks, magic sword's a thing. So yeah, Vivi develops that, and then when you get to Black Mage Village, and then they start coming to terms with their mortality, and
another difficult
bit for Vivi. Like Vivi goes through the whole game
going from hard topic to hard topic.
How he didn't end up with PTSD.
It's because he died.
Yeah.
Spoilers for a 24-year-old game.
Yeah, none of the black mages that you see at the end of the game are actually Vivi, because Vivi stopped.
Yep.
Before the game, Freya's character is essentially
we skipped.
we skipped Dagger.
We skipped Dagger. Oh, we can run back to Dagger when we get to Aiko because their story lines up.
They go together.
Freya has an interesting storyline.
Yeah.
It's not a great one, but it's not been overdone. Like everybody else's storyline is done to death. Freya's is, I'm searching for my missing partner. I know he's a capable warrior, but so am I. So I can do this. And she bloody well can. She is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
She's a knight.
She's a knight because she's a knight of Bermesia.
She's intelligent.
Yeah.
Probably second most intelligent member of the entire party after the very well-educated Dagger.
Yeah.
She's strong-willed as well.
Yeah, strong-willed. Obviously, with strong-willed, she doesn't falter when she finds out that Fratley has amnesia.
Yep. She continues following what she needs to do to help everybody that has helped her so far, to repay them. She doesn't give up on being able to be with them again.
Yep. And her story becomes to find and rehabilitate Fratley, not only for their relationship, but also to help rebuild Bermesia.
Yep. She goes through quite a bit, not as much as some of the others, but it's more than most people would. Mm-hmm. And she keeps going.
Yeah.
She may not be the ray of light that Vivi and Zidane are, but she's nowhere near as dark and broody as Steiner and Amarant.
Yeah. Quina. No.
If it wasn't for Amarant, this would be the character with the least development.
Oh, Quina. You meet Quina, and at first glance they eat.
Yeah.
However, Quina's on.
They are told to go with us.
They're told because Quina wants to,
to try different foods from around the world.
Yeah.
They are told.
They have ambition to try foods around the world, so they're not just one-dimensional foodies. You know, let's be honest. If Quina was a real character, they'd have Instagram taking photos of their feet.
Yes. They are actually a good source of.
They are comic
relief. They cut the tension at the right moments, though. It's comic relief done properly.
Yeah.
It's not funny for the sake of adding in funny. It's funny to cut the tension when it's appropriate.
Quina's very much the best drama cutting moments is when Sid has been turned from an oglop to a frog. And Quina sees frog and
gets hungry.
Yes, it's like frog, he's talking. But yeah, no, Quina doesn't have much development, but she's comic relief. I keep saying she, but there's never a.
Most of the time, they're referred to as she.
Yeah,
they have no gender. None of them have gender.
No Qs have.
Are they not?
Yeah, no Qs have a gender. I mean, it's like you refer to Quan as Grandpa.
Yeah.
And when you realise that
Grandpa Quan, Quail never gets gendered at all. Quina is usually identified as female by most of the fan base. Not all, obviously, but majority that I know of.
I mean, the attire sort of.
The attire kind of points you in that direction, but at the same time, could be either. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Quina is Quina, and we like Quina. One of my favourite characters. I take Quina in most of my parties because Blue Magic OP.
Yeah.
Done.
So we go to the two white mages because they're sort of linked because they still have very similar pasts.
Yeah.
The first thing you see in the whole game actually is the store is Garner waking from her recurring nightmare of being at sea, escaping Madain Sari
being
as a
destroyed.
child. Mm-hmm.
Which is another recurring theme of Final Fantasy IX. How many towns and civilizations get burned off?
Oh
the
yeah,
map?
the amount of times that things get like.
It's
We can go through that actually because
Could
we yeah so. Thank you. Oh, emails.
yeah.
So
At least it's not updates.
no. So yeah. So Garnet, and then she wants to be kidnapped because she's worried about her adoptive mother. She can see there's things haven't been quite right for a while. Ever since her adoptive father died, Bran's been not herself.
Yeah.
So she's worried about that. She wants to speak to Regent Sid. So she's contact Regent Sid. Regent Sid contact Tantalus because they live in Lindblom, and it's like, can you go kidnap my niece, please?
Yeah.
So they go do that, and that really begins the story.
Yeah, that's
and then
the catalyst.
And then Garnet, because Garnet's been kidnapped, and if a princess has been kidnapped, there's going to be a bounty out for her.
Obviously.
Alexandria is going to put a bounty for her, so she has to learn to fit into civilization, and that's not something she's used to.
No.
So she has to readapt. She has to change her entire lifestyle to adapt to this journey.
Her backstory basically makes up the entirety of the first 2 arcs of the game.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not so much the 3rd arc.
Yeah.
The 4th arc brings it back into her, and then the 5th arc is Zidane's, and then the finale.
Yeah. So it's very like
Garnet and Vivi are the 2 that make up the majority of the story for this game. Everybody else's plots tie into it, but they're the major focus.
But as we established, she's got very linked with Eiko
Because they're from
Madain Sari, to the point where in Alexandria they both have to join up to summon Alexander. In one of probably the most iconic images from the whole game.
Yep.
Alexander leaning over the castle with its wings,
Using the wings to protect the castle from Bahamut's mega flare before countering with an uncountable amount of holy missiles.
Yeah.
Enough to kill Bahamut.
Yeah, or phase them out anyway.
Yeah.
Eiko is very much like we said. Her character goes from meets the gang, gets a sort of kiddie crush on Zidane, goes through the summoning bits.
She doesn't have a lot of backstory, but she doesn't have that much character development either. But she does have enough that she's not just a dead draw character.
Yeah.
She's got about the same amount of character development and plot as Realm from Final Fantasy VI, really.
Yeah.
And she's actually quite a good character. She's not stuck in her ways enough that she's unbending will, but she's not a pushover.
Plus, she's responsible for one of the funniest side quests in the entire game.
Which one?
The passing around the love letter shit.
I mean, that's actually a plot piece rather than a side quest. But yeah, it acts like a side quest, and it does develop the plot, and it also pushes Steiner and Beatrix, as well as being a hilarious bit of confusion with the Tantalus crew. It's just a great moment overall. It's dumb, it's funny, and we love it.
Yeah.
And that's all because of Eiko.
Yeah.
I love Eiko. She's so funny.
Yeah. And then, of course, she gets her happy ending because Regent Sid and Hilda adopt her.
Yeah, she gets
her family. She gets her family. She's not to live
alone
on a rock with a bunch of Moogles.
To be fair, I would love to live with a bunch of Moogles.
Yeah.
Imagine the cuddle piles.
Yes.
The floof.
And then we go Amarant. Amarant's entire backstory is...
Zidane cost me my job. Now I have a grudge and will chase him around the entire world until I get my revenge.
Yeah.
I don't get my revenge.
Yeah.
I still have my grudge, but I will join him. But I'm still a lone wolf because there's 2 entire portions of the game where he dips out with the party because he's a lone wolf.
Yep.
To prove that being a lone wolf is better.
And then fails.
And fails both times. Has to be rescued both times.
Yep. Although Ibsen's castle is a very interesting place to... It's a very interesting, dungeon.
Yeah.
Zone, just because Ibsen's Castle...
such a good dungeon.
It's such a good
It flips the game on its head.
Quite literally, you have to use
the castle
space
down.
The
weaker equipment is stronger. Like, if you put on your beginner weapons, you'll do massive damage.
Yeah.
If you put on low-level equipment, you'll take less damage.
Yeah.
The higher level your equipment is, the worse you're going to go through it. So don't sell stuff.
Yeah, don't sell your base weapons.
Final Fantasy IX is the hoarder mentality. Keep everything; it will always be useful.
Yep. And then obviously that even at the end of the game, he's still.
Even at the end of the game, he is
in the end cutscene. He's on his own again, wandering off, and
Lani is following
him, and he's like
he's accepting of that, but he's tolerant of that. He is not accepting of it.
Yeah, he's slightly improved his lone wolf.
Yeah,
but not enough.
Yeah,
to make him.
He's got no real development. The most development he goes through is he lets go of his grudge on Zidane.
Yeah,
that's literally it. Steiner goes through that same portion, but he does it better. Does it fast? He does it slower, which makes it feel more natural.
Yeah,
and he improves as a person because of it. Amarant does not.
The best thing about Amarant is
throwing stuff.
Okay, outside of his actual technique, the best thing about Amarant is that his theme is very him.
Okay, fair point. He does have maybe the third best character theme because after Vivi, Vivi's one's just the top, and then Freya's.
Yeah, because Amarant's theme is very much
lone wolf western.
Yeah, it fits him so well.
It reminds me of Clint Eastwood western movies.
Yeah, it fits him very well.
It fits him perfectly. It's a good theme. It's used regularly enough that you know it.
Yeah. There's a few people whose musics fit like that, but
Steiner's.
Yeah.
Steiner's fits. I just don't like the theme. Aiko's theme fits Aiko. Queena's theme is probably the only one that doesn't fit perfectly, and it's still good.
Yeah.
Garnet's and Zidane's fit them, and later on they get a melody mix of the two of theirs, which is great. Vivi's theme is the best one.
Yeah, Vivi's theme.
It's iconic.
But we hadn't really touched on them because, my whole reason for bringing Amarant's theme up is because, I wanted to throw him Abon at least.
Yeah. He is not a bad character. He is not a bad character. I need to state that Amarant is not a bad character. Put in any other Final Fantasy, he would easily be top 3 to top 5.
Yeah.
And in some of them, he might even take top spot. The problem is what he's competing against in 9 makes him the worst by default.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, no character is bad.
There is just one who is best and one who is worst.
Yeah.
None of them are bad. Not a single one is bad. Amarant is the worst in Final Fantasy IX, and he's still feasibly one of the more useful characters. In the portions of the game where he is a must-have in your party, he is an absolute monster. And in the end game, he can take down Necros single-handedly.
Yeah.
You can solo that fight with Amarant.
Yeah.
He's got the speed to keep up. He's got this damage output. He's got the HP to survive things. He's got enough spirit that he can shake off the status effects of Grand Cross. He's just a good all-round character. The problem is that other characters do all of his specialties better than him.
Yeah.
He's not the worst at anything.
Yeah.
But he's the least established character.
The fact that you don't get him until midway through Disc 3 as well doesn't do. Is it Disc?
It's Disc 2 because you get him at Maiden Sari.
Yeah.
He joins.
Oh yeah.
Maybe 3 hours after Aiko, because you just need to do the Maiden Sari part, the exploration of the northern continent, the first trip to the Aoife tree, then the return, the Lani. There's not a second Lani fight there.
No.
Then it's the Amarant versus
Zidane
fight.
1-on-1.
He runs away for a bit. Then he joins you a little bit after that.
Yeah, because as you're leaving Midday, that time.
Yeah. Because he wants to see where Zidane gets his strength from.
Yeah, he's basically, like, he's like, how did he beat me? I want to know how he beat me.
I'm stronger than he is. How did he win?
Yeah.
I'm smarter than he is, which arguably he is. He is clever. He has managed to survive this long on his own. He can't be weak. He can't be dumb. How did Zidane beat him?
He accepts that he was defeated.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't question that he was beaten. He questions the how.
Yeah, he's like,
he wants to learn to improve himself, which is a noble way of doing it. He does it for the wrong reasons, but he's at least trying.
Yeah,
and that's a good start. It's better than most.
So the point of this entire video was to determine the worst character, but we say worst but not in
comparison.
We don't say worst in a derogatory fashion. We say like the weakest character.
The weakest established character in Final Fantasy IX is Amarant, and that's more a showcase of how good everyone else is.
Yeah.
Stick Amarant in as an example. Final Fantasy VII. He's as strong as Cloud. He's as tough as Cloud. He's as fast as Cloud. He has better innate abilities.
If you put him into 7, with bearing in mind the fact that any character in 7 can do anything
based on setup, he would beat out most of the cast.
Oh yeah.
Put him in Final Fantasy VIII. Again, any character can be anything. He beats out most of the cast. Put him in Final Fantasy VI, the closest established game to this. He would be by far the highest damage dealer in that game.
Well, if we say put him in 8, what the question becomes, by comparison,
how does everyone else compare?
No, it's not everyone else. It's compare him to the fifth comparison Zell.
Zell is a more established character by proxy of being in the game for the entire time and having real development. I say real development, he doesn't actually get that much. He gets more than Amarant, but not a lot.
Your best, I know we're a bit off topic when we're on to 8, but you can tell with 8, he grows to bond with his team.
Yeah.
With the core team a lot better, and you can see that if you visit Balam on multiple occasions.
Yes.
The first times you go, he won't let you visit his room.
Yep.
But later on, like I think it's by the time you get there, and the whole time's under martial law.
Yeah.
By Galbadia. That's about the time he starts to. You can tell he's accepted.
Yeah, that he has friends.
He's accepted, like
Amarant. So he accepts it faster than Amarant ever could.
Yeah, and also later on in the game, we could probably do another one of these about 8.
Oh yeah. We could do this about all of them, really. Yeah. We would need a 2-parter for 6. There are too many characters in that game.
Yeah, but with Zell, he grows to accept that. He needs to give Squall the space that Squall needs.
Yeah, he can't be in people's face just because they're friends.
At the beginning of the game, he tries to push on a bit. Like you can see it's like, Squall, let me hold your gun blade, come on. And Squall's like,
let's do best friend things because we're best friends. And Squall doesn't want to do that.
And he does it. It's not that he dislikes Zell. He just likes his
own
privacy.
In that regard, Amarant is basically personality-wise Squall.
Yeah, everyone like in 8, like
now I have the headcanon that Amarant is the love child of Squall and Zell. That's stuck in your head forever now. You're welcome.
You know what the worst thing is?
You can see it?
No, the worst thing is I wouldn't be surprised if I saw someone had written it on AO3.
Questions for later.
Yep. But wow, this video is taking 50 minutes to record.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. As we said at the very beginning,
why is it Amarant?
that we've explained. It's why it's Amarant.
It's not that he's a bad character. It's just he's the least established. And that's a pity because he is good.
It's not he's a bad character, he's just everyone else is above him in a very remarkable game.
Yeah. It's like trying to compare different types of apples.
Yeah.
They're all good, but this brand is better.
Yes. So yes, that's a now 50-minute video on who is the worst character in Final Fantasy IX
and why is it Amarant. Next week, why is it Irvine? Is it because he's shit?
We'll do 8 next week, and we'll go through Irvine, and we'll talk back about that, and obviously
it's because he's shit.
Yes.
It's a game where the only defining feature between each character is the limit breaks, and Irvine's sucks.
Yeah, and his personality is
flirty for the sake of flirtation.
Flirty for the sake of flirtation.
And I'm a sniper who can't snipe.
Yeah.
I'm a gunner who can't gun.
So yeah, video next week. Spoiler alert, you already know the answer.
We won't do 8 then. That's too easy, and everyone knew it.
Yeah, we could do 7, but
could do 7,
or we could do 10. Because that would be an interesting
one. I mean, we could at least tell people why we think it's Kimahri.
Yes.
Because he's, again, a good character with well-established background and growth.
But everyone else is
better.
Yeah.
In fact, Kimahri is basically the Amarant of Final Fantasy X.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good character in a great game.
But everyone else exists.
Everyone else exists, and that just makes them slightly better.
Yep. So, thank you. Bye-bye.